For 65 years, Cuba's economy was defined by near total state control. Today, that monolithic system is splintering under a deepening fiscal crisis. Ever since the 1959 revolution, the nation's identity has been built on a rigid ideological rejection of private markets. The state functioned by outlawing almost all private enterprise and maintaining universal subsidies to provide for the population. But the data for this year shows the system has reached a limit. GDP is projected to contract by 7%. This contraction is significant enough to starve the government of the revenue it needs to fund essential services. The state's economic monopoly has stopped generating the capital required to keep the country running. The immediate result is a failing infrastructure. An electrical grid in need of modernization has led to prolonged daily blackouts across residential areas. On the streets, chronic shortages of fuel and basic goods have forced the population into hours-long lines just to secure necessities. These internal failures are compounded by external pressure. U.S. sanctions and an oil blockade are driving a rapid exit of foreign money. Major international hotel chains and airlines that once brought hard currency to the island have simply stopped operations. By early June, even the digital links were cut, with the Central Bank of Cuba announcing it could no longer accept Visa or Mastercard transactions. Facing these compounding failures, President Miguel Díaz-Canel publicly acknowledged that for the nation to survive, its state-led system must undergo a significant transformation. Centrally planned economies reach a breaking point when internal decay meets absolute exclusion from the global financial system. In June, the Cuban National Assembly responded to the crisis by unanimously passing a package of 176 separate economic reforms. Prime Minister Manuel Marrero announced that these measures aim to aggressively reduce the state's footprint in the economy. The government is removing the 100-employee cap on private companies, allowing local businesses to scale in a way that was previously illegal. They are also shifting the social safety net, moving from universal subsidies for everyone to highly targeted subsidies for those most in need. These 176 pillars represent a shift from a centrally planned economy toward one governed by market-based laws. To restore liquidity, the government is authorizing private banks to enter and operate within the domestic financial system for the first time. They are also partially dollarizing the economy, a move designed to stabilize trade and domestic commerce. Perhaps most significant is the state's new posture toward foreign investment, which is now being facilitated even within previously closed state monopolies. Agriculture, real estate, and tourism are now open for foreign investors to acquire direct ownership stakes. Allowing private foreign ownership in core industries marks the most significant departure from the revolutionary economic model since it was established in 1959. This pivot is the largest shift in the island's economic identity in over 6 decades. The shift is so stark that even Raúl Guillermo Rodríguez Castro, Fidel's grandson, publicly declared that diversifying the way the country does business is now inevitable. The government admitted its state-run banking system actively created obstacles and hindered development. But there is a functional gap between passing laws and actually winning back the confidence of the global market. Laws alone cannot reverse a 7% GDP contraction. To fill that deficit, the government has to convince the very investors who just fled that the island is now a safe place for their capital.